The utility worker froze. For a moment, he thought he was imagining it. His shovel had hit something that didn't feel like dirt. It didn't feel like rock. It was soft. He moved a little more soil away with his hands, his heart suddenly pounding for reasons he couldn't explain. That's when he saw it clearly. A piece of fabric, and beneath it, fingers, a human hand. He stumbled back, almost dropping the shovel, and reached for his phone with shaking hands. His call to emergency services was rushed, messy, full of half-finished sentences. I think, there's someone here. In the ground, next to the house, Evelyn Harper's house, police arrived within minutes. This time, nobody treated it like a routine check. The area was cleared. The ground was carefully dug out, inch by inch. Every movement was slow, controlled, careful. Because now, they weren't just looking for a body. They were hoping for a miracle. And then, they saw her, Evelyn Harper, alive. Her face was pale. Her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes barely opened when light hit them. But she was breathing. She was alive. The rescue took time. The pit was narrow, unstable, and dangerous. One wrong move could cause the soil to collapse. Firefighters worked carefully, securing the sides, slowly creating enough space to lift her out. When they finally pulled her free, the crowd that had gathered went silent. Some people cried. Some people covered their mouths in shock. Some people just stared, unable to believe what they were seeing. She had been there the whole time, right next to her house, in the one place nobody thought to check. At the hospital, doctors moved fast. Severe dehydration, multiple injuries, extreme exhaustion. But against all odds, she was stable and conscious. When she could finally speak, her voice was weak, but clear enough to understand. She told them what had happened. 13 nights earlier, she had stepped outside late in the evening. She remembered the air being cooler than usual. She remembered thinking she'd just check something near the side of the house before going back inside. She never saw the ground give way. The pit was old, left behind from a construction project decades ago, poorly filled, hidden under grass and soil, invisible unless you knew exactly what to look for. The moment she stepped on it, it collapsed. She fell, hard. The walls were too steep, the space too narrow. She couldn't climb out. She screamed, but the pit was deep enough, and the opening small enough, that her voice never traveled far. Her phone was inside the house. No way to call, no way to signal for help. For 13 days, she was trapped. She told them she could hear people, footsteps, voices, dogs barking. She heard her own name being called, more than once. And every time she tried to answer, she screamed. She banged her hands against the dirt. But the sound never reached them. The worst part, she said later, was knowing they were so close, and still being completely alone. If this story is hitting you right now, take a second and like the video and subscribe. Stories like this remind us how fragile life is, and how easy it is to miss what's right in front of us. When the news broke, the town didn't know how to react. Relief came first, then shock, then something heavier, guilt. People started replaying the search in their minds, the paths they walked, the places they checked, the hours they spent looking far away, while she was lying there, right next to her own home. Police faced hard questions. How did they miss it? How did dogs not find her? How did drones not see anything? The answer was simple and terrifying. They weren't looking there. They assumed the danger was far away. They assumed she had been taken somewhere else. They assumed the obvious places had already been ruled out. And because of that, they overlooked the one place that mattered most. The headlines changed overnight. Missing woman found alive after 13 days in her own yard. Reporters crowded the hospital. Cameras waited outside. The story spread fast. Not just because it had a happy ending, but because it was so hard to believe. How could someone be missing for almost 2 weeks and be right there the whole time? Evelyn's family didn't leave her side. Her sister later said those 13 days felt longer than the rest of her life combined. Every night, she had prepared herself for bad news. Every morning, she had hoped for a miracle. And somehow, they got one. Recovery was slow. Evelyn had lost weight. She was weak. Simple things, sitting up, holding a cup, walking a few steps, took effort. But she was alive. And every day, she got a little stronger. When she finally told her full story, people listened in complete silence. She talked about counting time by the light above her, about trying to stay awake because she was afraid she wouldn't wake up again, about hearing rain and thinking it might fill the pit before anyone found her. But more than anything, she talked about the sounds, voices, footsteps, people searching. She said she never stopped believing someone would eventually look in the right place. The town changed after that. People paid more attention to small details. Neighbors checked on each other more. Old properties were inspected. Forgotten spaces were re-examined. Because everyone realized something uncomfortable. Disappearing doesn't always mean going far. Sometimes it means falling into a place nobody thinks to look. Tom, the volunteer who noticed the disturbed soil, was quietly thanked. He never claimed to be a hero. He just said something didn't feel right, and he couldn't let it go. The utility worker, the one who made the call, said later that he almost didn't dig, almost walked past it, almost ignored that strange feeling. Almost. That word haunted a lot of people after that. Almost didn't notice, almost didn't check, almost too late. Evelyn eventually returned home. The pit was filled, the ground was repaired, but for a long time, she couldn't walk near that side of the house without stopping, without remembering, without thinking about how close she came to never being found. And here's the part that stays with people. For 13 days, hundreds of people searched. They walked miles, they scanned forests, they checked rivers, they looked everywhere, except the one place that mattered. So ask yourself this: if someone vanished tomorrow, would you assume they're far away? Would you rush to look in distant places? Or would you stop and really look at what's right in front of you? Because sometimes the most terrifying truth isn't hidden in some dark, far-off place. Sometimes it's right under your feet, and you don't see it until it's almost too late.